Bim bam was zippy zadoodop shibibidiboo pow wapapow. We're back with more Gracier playoffs, Land Battles and Conquest, and we have Ash versus Pigman today. Let's go. Might do one best of three, might do two best of threes, depending on if they are quick or not. Right? If it's a knockdown, drag out, 3 games, all of them are pretty long, then I'll just do one for this video. And if not, if not. But let's get into it. We have Ash versus Pigman. Game 1 is Beastmen versus Norska. I'll include the 077 just to make his name a little longer. And the side, I'll go with War God because I know he rebranded to that. I will respect his wishes as the game is starting and I'm still doing scoreboard stuff. No! No! We're back. Alright, Beastmen versus Norska. 2 lightly armored fast factions. We have Slongors and Ungor Spearman herds for the front line. Ungor Raiders backing them up. We have double Gorgon, including the Bloodbrute Behemoth. Malagor Dark Omen with Flock of Doom and Doom and Darkness, it looks like. Then some Centaurs chase down routing units. And aside for Norska, we have a Chimera. 2 Chimeras, though I imagine that's what the Gorgons are here to counterfire. Frontline of Marauders, including Marauders with Javelins, some Skin Wolves, Norskan Ice Wolves, Wulfric the Wanderer, and a Shaman Sorcerer of Fire with Burning Head, Cascading Fire Cloak. Wulfric does have all of his buffs. Hunter of Champions, Sword of Torgald, Seafang, and Foeseeker. Damn, it's pretty intense. Beastmen have the better frontline. Ungor Spearman herds, of course, will lose to Marauders, but 2 Slongors should be enough to tip the balance. Neither side invested very heavily in their frontline. Really, what's going to be going on here is a monster fight. Who uses their monsters better, as the 2 Chimeras start out with deadly breath attacks, each taking out an entire archer unit on their own. But can the Chimeras land and make good impact? Can they do well without the Gorgons hunting them down and killing them is going to be a big part of this. Because neither side also brought as much mobility as you would expect from Beastmen versus Norska. We have 3 Norskan Ice Wolves and 2 Skin Wolves, but that's far from the cav dominance you'd expect from Norska. A Burning Head and Seafang did soften up the front lines of the Beastmen, but it looks like they will hold for now. Slongors get a little more brave as they take damage. And Pigman just using his Skin Wolves and stuff on the front line, not bothering to go to the flanks for now, but we do see one of the picks I said has to not happen is who can use their monsters better, and a Chimera getting locked down by Centaurs and fighting a Gorgon on the ground is not where it wants to be. The breath attacks in the early game were beautiful, and this one being used on the front line just to provide a little bit of terror is also doing quite nicely. But yeah, this can't happen. We'll see if this Chimera lives or if it's just straight up one shot. But the other one has to be put to good use if that one is going down. Norska's off to a decent start besides that catch. And ooh, the Centaurs broke off for some reason. Don't know. Looks like they're busy fighting Norskan Ice Wolves. But now the Gorgon is just doing the thing where he T-poses behind the Chimera as it runs for its life. So it might be able to get away and get up into the air. He does get a charge attack onto it, but it is not going to get 100 to 0 as we feared. The Beastmen have broken through the front line though. Slongors, Ungor Spearman herds bypass some of the Marauders. We still see some Marauders around trying to stop them, but they just walked past them. And now the Marauder Hunter Javelins are under threat, which were going to be a lot of the damage profile of Norska, especially for dealing with these Gorgons. Looks like the Chimeras are going to jump in and try and snipe out Malagor. As Malagor gets a little bit of overcast damage from Flock of dooming everyone around him, and he's fighting Wulfric and Skin Wolves. This is a little spooky for Malagor. I know Malagor is obscenely tanky just because he's a teeny tiny little foot guy, but he gets hit with Hunter of Champions while surrounded by enemies. He is down to half HP. Armor at 0, melee defense at 5. Taking a lot of damage as the double Gorgons rip through Marauders, Marauder Hunter Javelins, and Skin Wolves alike. Neither of them is moving to help Malagor, who takes off while in melee, because Malagor doing Malagor stuff is very Malagor. We do have some routing Beastmen that are now getting orders to come back in. We kind of see them going down the line, just getting orders to return to the fight. So definitely a lot of micro is being paid to Malagor and the Gorgons, and then now that Malagor is relatively safe, Ash seemed to look around and find all of his missing units and bring them back into the fight. But Malagor does need to keep moving. With that impressive 110 speed versus the Chimera's 77, he should be able to get away as long as that micro doesn't slip. Pigman and Norska on the back foot as the Gorgons. One is chasing Wulfric, the other one accidentally blocks him in place, and now is just trying to figure out what it's doing. Turns around, gets a good shot on him. The other Gorgon also runs up. Wolfric takes some decent damage before running away. What does Norska have left? I mean, we still have 2 chimeras. Each has 2 breath attacks, if I'm tracking that correctly. Yeah, they both have 2 breath attacks left. And those breath attacks can do a lot of damage to single entities if you get them stuck in a place. Skin Wolves are slowly regenerating up, still have plenty of models. So you could get to a late game point where the chimeras sit above the Gorgons as they're surrounded by Skin Wolves and just get breath attacks down on them and then jump in for the assassination. And it seems to be the late game that Norska is trying to set up. As you can see, they're focusing on everything that isn't the Gorgons. They're just running down any infantry that are trying to come back, catching Centaurs where they can, really trying to knock out everything besides the Gorgons. They get a nice slow late game where they control the flow of everything. Because you can't do that like surround and breath attack thing if Centaurs rear charge your Skin Wolves and they tear out away and the Gorgons are free to dodge your breath attacks, etc. So the Skin Wolves helping to kill off Slongors. Slongors immune to psychology, helping them out a lot. Beastmen that are immune to terror is pretty rough for everybody else. But their leadership's dipping. The ultimate leadership debuff is death, after all. Chimera is still trying to snipe out the Centaurs who are finishing off some of the dogs. I think that's a problem, though. I've said Pigman a couple times because, you know, I know him from a different name, but that's been a problem War God's been facing. I can see what he's trying to do strategically, but the Beastmen have just been more resilient than he was hoping. So these charges aren't, like, killing them off quickly enough, or even some of his units are routing instead of theirs. So picking off the extra guys isn't getting him an overall battlefield advantage. It's just trades instead of like advantage creation. So then he's still in the same spot where he's a little behind and now he needs to fight these Gorgons, but there's not as much fresh meat to pick off. His Skin Wolves didn't heal as much as he wanted, and it's looking pretty bleak. One of the Skin Wolves terror routes away, the other one has to stay behind and buy Wolfric and the other Skin Wolves a little time, but then they route right next to the edge of the map where they get hit with Doom and Darkness. They're just gonna get walked off by those Centaurs, and that's a pretty bad time for Norska, losing one of their regenerating mass pieces. Still have 2 chimeras, each still has 2 flaming breath attacks, but we're running out of time to get good use out of those. And by that I just mean, if your Gorgons aren't locked up in Skin Wolves or something, if they're just standing out and about, it's really hard to get a good breath attack on them without them just walking slightly to one side and dodging a lot of the damage. As the Gorgons continue to walk about. I thought I saw a Sea Fang getting summoned on Song of Spearman Herd. There it is. Near through them. And decent damage onto the Ungor Raiders. Very nice Sea Fang cast, but is it too little? Is it too late? Burning Head coming down the line as well. Trying to finish off those archers. The Chimeras jump in for a little bit of terror. And the Gorgons doing a bit of a dance, though I did see a big red arrow appear on the Chimeras briefly. Chimeras should be able to get back in the sky fine, though. Or are they? Ooh, they're just getting a downhill charge on the Beastmen, and while that's an immediate good engagement, I think they maybe should have taken the opportunity to get back in the sky. Gorgons are right on their heels. They were trying to snipe Malagor, but now they're the ones getting chopped apart. Gorgons more than up to the task of taking out these Chimeras. Doom and Darkness Overcast as well. Really wants to take these guys out, Malagor does. Because if you can get one routing, you can use his superior speed to keep up with it. He's Hunter of Champions right now, so that's a bad example, but he normally has 110 speed, so if one of those guys routed, he could easily walk it off the map on his own. Saw one of the breath attacks come in onto the Bloodbrute Behemoth. Did not do that much damage, unfortunately. And Wolfric's also just running out of time. I don't know how War God can really bring this back at this point. I'm just missing where the DPS is going to come from. Another breath attack, it does decently. And then a Burning Head down the line of these Spearmen. We're still maybe getting to the late game stage where it's 2 Chimeras and Wolfric versus Malagor and 2 Gorgons, but the Gorgons' health and the Chimera's health is just not comparable at this point. It's, you know, 11,000 here, 7,000 here versus 3,000 and 1,300. That's not close. I don't know. Each Chimera has 1 breath attack left. Skin Wolves are back for now. Chimera needs to get back up into the sky. Wolfric's really wondering how to get in on these Gorgons. We're also getting a downhill charge bonus right now. Immediate terror out of the Marauders, and the Gorgons are going to go after who they can. They're sick of trying to chase around Wolfric on his horse. They're sick of trying to chase the flying Chimeras. They're just going to try and hit this Shaman on foot as they walk calmly with him instead of swinging for a bit. Come on. There we go. Nice big hit onto the Shaman, maybe gonna tear out him, and honestly taking out the Magic Caster might be enough bounce of power difference to just army loss Norska at this point. But Wolfric comes in, and they decide to take a quick fight with him because he's fast enough to run away from them. They can literally engage the Shaman whenever they want to, but as soon as one of these flyers or Wolfric comes in, you're gonna see them turn and engage it because that's what they want. They just want to take the guaranteed fights when they can. Seafang down the side of this just to slow the Gorgons, I guess. I don't know. Wargod's probably just using any resources he has at this point. Here's the final engagement, but army losses hits as Norska terror routes away. And that's GG. Chimera's OP. CA, please nerf. Oh shit, the Gorgons. 1500 value for Malagor. Ooh, Slongors did very well. Archers all got wrecked. Centaurs did mixed. And then the Gorgons did very well. For War God, Wolfric had a tough time. Shaman, Sorcerer of Fire did okay. Chimeras both did pretty darn well. Jav Throwers, more mixed value. And the Dogs and Skin Wolves largely had a hard time getting anything done. Wait, I need to change the score. The score is 1-0. All right, you're back on the bracket screen, so I can select the next replay without spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers. None. There we go. Zippity zap. Ash is on the Tomb Kings with Khalida versus War God on the High Elves. And War God actually only using Ship's Company from the DLC. No Oceanids. For the Tomb Kings of Khalida, we have a front line of Nehekaran warriors backed up by melee Ushabti. This is a heavy metal, full-on front rush Tomb Kings build. We have a Lich Priest of Light with Shem's Burning Gaze, High Queen Khalida with her Venom Staff, and then we have 2 Necro Sphinxes, one of which is the Sphinx of Usef. Looks like the Venom Staff and the Shem's Burning Gaze are both used on the Frost Heart in the early game, just trying to poke it down a little bit. For the High Elves, we have Silver Helms for heavy cav components, couple Sisters of Avalorn, and then a bunch of Lothern Sea Guards, a front line of Ship's Company, Mage of Life with just Earthblood, and Tyrion, Erevanarian, Wielder of Sunfang, Savior of Ulthuan, the Faint Riposte, and Sunfang. Plus his self-heal, of course. Ushabtis get a downhill sprint, and the High Elves are used to being able to handle monstrous rushes pretty well because their front line used to default to Spearmen or more Spearmen, or how about some Spearmen? But with Ship's Company, actually, the Ushabti should get really good damage in. They have no charge defense versus large, and obviously no bonus versus large, no increased melee defense from being a spear unit, so the Ship's Company actually a little more fragile to an Ushabti rush than the High Elves might be used to. Frostdark Phoenix is having a terrible time versus the Necro Sphinx right now. It does need to retreat, and this is the only Phoenix without its own form of healing, though they did bring a Life Caster to mitigate that. They did not bring a front line worthy of the Ushabti rush, however, as the downhill charge helped the Ushabti get through the Ship's Company very quickly, and they're already back onto the Lothern Sea Guard. Sphinx Usef gets to fight Tyrion for a little bit. Tyrion has fire resistance, so does the Sphinx, so they're both kind of muted against each other, but the Frostheart Phoenix debuff aura is quite nasty. -8 melee attack for the Sphinx Usef, so Tyrion's going to get good shots out on it as the Sisters of Avalorn try and retreat. And the other Sphinx is actually taking a lot of damage this early into the game. Already lost over half of its HP. Where is Khalida? Where is Krell? Khalida's helping some Nehekar warriors rout off Silverhelms. I guess that's okay, but she might need to rejoin the main fight as both her Sphinxes are suffering quite badly. One is still healthy, but it's currently surrounded by Tyrion, Frostheart Phoenixes, and High Elf support. And the other one is very low in HP, so Khalida's got to get over here and help out. Melee Ushabti doing a lot of damage, as I mentioned before. I wonder where the Melee Ushabti summon is going to pop up. Maybe it could flank these Sisters of Avalorn and stop them from escaping. Earthblood is out for the Frostheart Phoenix and Tyrion. Gonna help them a little bit as we get a Venom Staff that looked like trying to target the Sisters of Avalorn, but these Lothern Sea Guard tanked it in the face for their sister kin. Well done, boys. Well done. Tomb Kings doing pretty well in this game so far. Bounce power is slightly tipping to their favor. The front line has entirely shattered off for the High Elves. Ship's Company are just in all directions, scattered away. Shem's Burning Gaze still trying to poke down the Frostheart Phoenix, but Tyrion does finish sniping the regular Necro Sphinx. It's too low now, it can't possibly rally. It's dead. So one of the 3 single entities that Tyrion has to worry about is gone. We have the Sphinx Usef that's currently right behind him and at half HP that's a problem, and Khalida is no bad duelist herself, so still a bit of work for Tyrion to do. The High Elf forces, however, really struggling to back up Tyrion right now. So many white flags up for the High Elves, archers running in every direction. We have some brave Silverhelms still holding the line for now. That is about it. Frostart Phoenix also applying those constant debuffs that we mentioned before to help Tyrion out a little bit. We have Lothern Seaguard reforming lines away from these Nightcrawler Warriors, trying to turn in fire, but Tyrion is really trying to carry this game. Not amazing value so far, but I have seen him just consistently poking down these large Necro Sphinxes. As Sister of Avalon throw on guard mode and try to ignore Khalida, they just want to get damage down onto the Sphinx Usef, save Tyrion, and rely on him to carry the late game versus Ushabti and Nekar Warriors with his Sun Fang infantry clearing. Ushabti have run up to help out the Sphinx Usef, get behind it, and Sphinx is having a really hard time finishing anything. The Frostart Phoenix has been low for a while, but it keeps getting slow Earthbloods to keep it alive. Tyrion's at half HP, and the Sphinx is now falling to crumbling point. This is a really good turnaround for the High Elves, considering how bleak it was looking for a brief moment. Getting rid of both large Sphinxes is a big win. Basic Ushabti and Nekar Warriors chasing down everything they can get their claws on. Tyrion's going to be difficult to kill. Still half HP after all this. Shem's Burning Gaze down the side of a Frostart Phoenix, down to 100 HP and falling. Remember, there is no rebirth mechanic for the Frostart Phoenix. That 167 health is all that separates it from true, real, and permanent death. 31. 31. Walking. There it goes down. No debuff aura left for the Ushabti that are surrounding Tyrion, so they get all their real stats back that they can use to chew through his checks notes 65 melee defense. He's a tanky boy. He's a very tanky boy. Tomb Kings, I don't know how much of this is real. I don't know if they've actually used their summon or not. I don't know if it's actually not that close to even using their summon, which seems weird. Khalida's still full HP. Shem's caster is very damaged, but he's been casting a lot of Shems. I imagine his next couple will be going towards Tyrion. Oh, uses some on Lothern Seaguard at an uphill angle was not the greatest cast, unfortunately, for him. Nice Sunfang down the side of the Nekar Warriors. Like we said, Tyrion is going to be relied upon to clear out a lot of those infantry in the late game with those Sunfangs. Tyrion does not give an F, because he is going to just charge in and duel Khalida. She has decent duelist stats, as we said. His are amazing, though. And he is protecting some Sister of Avalon and Lothern Seaguard that are trying to rally and just get some occasional shots in. We still have a lot of Ushabti running around, though some are significantly damaged. And Tyrion doesn't give up for no man. Silverhelms retreat. So for the High Elves, we have Tyrion, who's obviously very healthy. He's another Shems, hits the Lothern Seaguard and tries to get them to rout. We have Tyrion, but we also have some decently healthy Silverhelms that are now getting healed. We, of course, have the Healing Caster and just stragglers of archers every which direction you could possibly think of. Khalida is trying to cycle charge Tyrion and just get that charge bonus to help her get over that feint and riposte. 86 melee defense for him right now, plus a bunch of physical resistance. It is rough. It is rough, tough, not fun stuff. Try and kill that High Elf. Sisters of Avalon routing yet again. Silverhelm still cycle charging around, though the balance power has now shifted in favor of the High Elves. I still haven't seen that Ushabti summon, as it looks like we are getting close to tier 3 army ability. So it does seem like maybe that army counter at the top is legit in a replay, and they just haven't gotten the tier 3 yet because so few of their actual frontline troops were dying. Most of the damage was focused on their single entities in the early game. We'll see. Tomb Kings might get one last big heal and then a Ushabti summon. Tyrion's still healing up. He is slowly taking attrition damage, though. We can see his heal cap has actually appeared. Could be a pretty big problem come the late game. Khalida tries and just shatters off some of these ship's company. Ushabti stuck fighting Tyrion forever. And there is this little balance of power battery here. The Mage of Life, whose Earthbloods will be less and less effective as more of her units shatter away and Tyrion hits his healing cap. Shem's Burning Gaze honestly hit more Ushabti than Silverhelms. That Shem's caster has been having a pretty terrible time of it this game. Yeah, his Shem's casts have not been it, unfortunately. Tyrion takes a big blow, down to half HP yet again as he gets an Earthblood. Khalida backs off with more cycle charging. We still aren't to the tier 3 according to the top bar on the replay, which I have no idea how accurate is to actually what's going on in game. Still haven't gotten that final heal. Still haven't gotten the Ushapti summon as we have some Nakar warriors trying to waddle back into this fight. And other Ushapti trying to walk past Tyrion, as is Kalita. Everybody's trying to walk past him, but Tyrion has so much health now compared to Kalita. And Fate and Riposte is up too, so yeah, she's got to run. Yeah, Ushapti need to peel for her. She takes another shot in the back. That was a pretty bad exchange here for the Tomb Kings. Silverhelm's going to charge Kalita, who does run away. Shem's Renegades in the back of the Silverhelms does, like, no damage. I don't know. I'm underwhelmed by the Shem's caster here. Not loving it. Maybe he was here for Oceanid, I guess. If Kalita dies, this is for sure over. We still haven't gotten the tier 3 Realm of Souls summon as far as I'm aware, as the Ushapti are starting to crumble away. Deaths required. They need 25 more deaths before they can even get it. As army losses starts to tick. There, it's unlocked. Yeah, just not enough infantry died for the Tomb Kings. Ushapti did very, very well. The cats also did quite nicely. Kalita did okay. I was really underwhelmed by the Shem's caster, but again, maybe he's here for tech. I don't understand, like Sky Cutters. Honestly, that could be it, Sky Cutters. Tyrion got 3,000 value. Support God brings the series to 1-1. Archers did pretty well. Silverhelms did pretty well. GG. Give War God his point. And take you over to the brackets. You don't have spoilers. Though now you do know there's a game 3. I still have to scroll past other games with names on them. Names you might recognize and determine who wins. Final game. Dark Elves of Ash versus the Warriors of Chaos of War God. We have Zarthoriel and a Chimera. Okay. I saw the Chill of Sontar. Dark Elves, we have a Dark Caster with Soul Stealer on a Dragon, couple Black Ark Corsair Hambos, Cold One Knights, and Bleak Swords, the Chill of Sontar, and some Dark Riders. We do have a Canate Assassin as well with his Web of Shadows, so basically another Soul Stealer. That's it. For the Warriors of Chaos, very simple build. 4 Forsaken, 2 Marauder Horsemen, Skirmish Cav, then the Rotting Knights, ROR Rot Knights. The Rotting Riders, sorry. 3 Hellstriders of Slaanesh, and then Sarthoriel and a Chimera. Sarthoriel has his Rock of Inevitability, Searing Doom, and Final Transmutation. Dark Elf Dragon lands on Forsaken, trying to get a little bit of free damage. It's back up in the sky, it's gonna be fine. Whew! Little drink of water, haven't casted this much in a row in quite a while. For those people who don't know, I just cast the other video that came out the other day, like back to back. Oh. Yeah. Cold Knights charge right in, get hit in the face with some Marauder Horseman fire, and now the Rotting Riders are here, so they'll need to run. The Rotting Riders are going to get some nips on the butts of those Velociraptors. Overall, not a great engagement for the Dark Elves in the end. Forsaken trying to catch the front line of the Dark Elves. Black Corsair Hambos want nothing to do with this engagement, so the Bleak Swords will have to take most of it. The Hellstriders have a flank, but a flank on what? Trying to figure out where to even take an engagement. As the Chimera lands on Supreme Sorceress of Dark with Sarthoriel, I imagine we'll see a Final Transmutation come down on this blob of units for extra damage, but also to dissuade other Cold One Knights from joining in. And there it is. It also hits the Chill of Sontar, so that's a really good one. Rotting Riders, Chimera, under attack, I guess. We could see a Soul Stealer on them. Yeah, counter Soul Stealers coming in. Both sides throwing down their AoE punishment spells, but the Dark Elves getting the way worse end of it right now. Frontline for the Warriors of Chaos is taking a lot of damage. We have some Forsaken routing over there, but really the game is going to be decided on whether or not this incredibly expensive Black Dragon mount just gets annihilated at the start of the game. The Dark Elves have to play without a caster, without a Lord, and without a big monster. Chill of Sontar is doing okay. It has plenty of healing, so it can heal up. And there is the route. Can the Supreme Sorceress of Dark get back up in the air and get back into the game? Chill of Sontar gets a big burst of healing. Web of Shadows is down from the Canate Assassin. But it's looking pretty rough for the Dark Elves here. Black Corsair Hambos getting lots of shots in. Now, this was a disaster for the Warriors of Chaos. They lost a lot of their light cav, all their Forsaken, but the main engagement with the single entities went great for them. The Routing Riders are still holding the Chill of Sontar in place and getting big damage down, though we do have Archer Fire coming in and Cold Wind Knights around, so this actually could be an overcommitment from the Routing Riders. And Sartorial does get the Sorceress to shatter. 400 HP left on it. Looks like the Martyr Horsemen are going to be tasked with killing her, just get the extra leadership debuff, but it's not going to be worth Sartorial or the Chimera's time to deal with that in melee. Another Final Transmutation out from Sartorial onto Cold Wind Knights, the Canid Assassin, and the Chill of Sontar, so a lot of really good Final Transmutation casts. As the Rotting Riders need to not route, otherwise they lose their damage resistance buff that they have. It's a one-time ability that gets lost if they are broken, so no more damage resistance for you. Chill Sontar is holding. Sartorial is very healthy, but does need to be careful. Without support, he's not the best melee combatant. The Dark Elf Lord has died as she got to the very edge of the map. I actually want to see how close she got. Okay, she's not as close as I thought from afar. She's close, but not like literally touching it. But that's pretty bad. Dark Elf's going to take a Lord is dead debuff rather than a Lord has fled debuff. Nice breath attack in from the Chimera, doing huge damage to the Black Corsair Hambos. And I feel like I keep just saying, oh, this is going bad for the Dark Elves, or this is going bad for the Dark Elves, but they're holding okay on the balance of power. Should I be alarmed? Chill Sontar gets another big heal just as his leadership was about to fail. He does rally. Canadian Assassin and Chill trying to gang up on Sartorial. Like I said before, we do have a lot of Black Corsair Hambos here, and the Warriors of Chaos don't have nearly as much multi-entity support. Their single entities are still pretty healthy and pretty dangerous, but like the Forsaken are a spent force, the Hellstriders are a spent force, the Martyr Horsemen Skirmish Cav are currently locked in melee with both Bleak Swords and Black Corsair Hambos. So they do, Warriors of Chaos do need to finish off this Chill of Sontar and get moving, but the Chill is going nowhere. Down to 800 HP before he finally routes. He has hit his heal cap pretty much. So Black Corsair Hambos continue to fire in on Sartorial and the Chimera. The Chill of Sontar is running away. 14 seconds till his next big burst of healing. That honestly could rally him. But the Canid Assassin is also using his little crossbow on Sartorial. Pachow! 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 He's popping that fool. Yeah, Chill got another big burst of healing. He is heal capped now, but he's positive. Bounce power's back to 50-50. Bleak Swords chasing down some of the routing units. We still have two Black Corsair Hambos with a good amount of ammunition and HP. Chill Sontar's back, as we mentioned. Canadian Assassin has a lot of HP and ammunition. But if Sartorial has one... If he has two Final Transmutations or an Overcasted Final Transmutation, the Canadian Assassin has such a low HP pool that like you can honestly hit him with an Overcasted Final Transmutation and then charge him and he'll just terror out. Oh, he's ITP. Okay, he won't terror out. He'll just get really low. Terror outs will not happen as the Canadian Assassin tries to keep poking Sartorial. Hasn't gotten his barriers back in quite a while. He's been trying to, but he just can't. Rotting Riders are trying to regenerate up. Skirmish Cav are back as the Dark Elves rally around the Chill of Sontar. I'd like to say that, you know, they're all just trying to let it heal into the late game, but it's all out of that. It's sponged as much damage as it can sponge. As they reform lines, we're just gonna hit fast forward real quick. Dun, 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 dun. So Sartorial is trying to charge his barriers back up, also get any extra winds of magic he can for a Final Transmutation. And they're trying to let the Rotting Riders heal. The Dark Elves are trying to just let the Canadian Assassin poke whenever possible, and then also set up so that they're less spread out across the map and more easily able to get shots off. Still have all these Black Corsair Hambos, which with these low of health bars, I mean, they can do pretty well in the game. Chill of Sontar with an aerial breath attack takes out Sartorial's entire barrier before he joins the fight. Canadian Assassin still firing up at him. So are some Black Corsairs who are coming back in the fight. Sartorial's diving down. Breath attack in from the Chimera to take out some Cold One Knights. Sartorial's very damaged, but he does use a dissuading Final Transmutation. He's just like, all right, if you come near me in this Canadian Assassin, you're going to get Final Transmutation, which a lot of these guys route or, you know, terror out, run away. The Canadian Assassin, as we said before, with Sartorial diving in on him and the Final Transmutation, he just takes so much damage, he ends up routing, so. Dark Elves have lost their hero. They've almost lost the Chill of Sontar. The Chill of Sontar does manage to body the Chimera, forcing it away as he gets charge attack after charge attack. The Rotting Riders are back in. They do provide terror. They could terror out this stuff near them, especially with Sartorial rear charging in
Gets rid of some Bleak Swords, but the Rotting Riders shatter, running away, leaving Sartorial all alone. Balance of powers against him. The Chill of Sontar routes for no man. It hasn't got that much value, but I do love how much of a damage soak it's just been. It's taken so much damage. As it routes yet again from Sartorial, this time, I don't think it's coming back. Only 300 HP. Its leadership probably just isn't there. But Sartorial is stupid low on health, down to 900 HP. Army Losses is going to take him out as he tries to tear out something to stop Army Losses from finishing him off. But a very, very close finish in a close series. Damn. Lord, Assassin, the Chill of Sontar, all sitting around that 1300 value mark, roughly. Pretty good from them. Black Arc Russer Hambos were the true MVPs of this match. They all got as much value as those single entities. Golden Knights did okay. For War God, Sartorial did great, 3,600. Chimera also did well at 2,300. No, 2,200. The Forsaken largely got bodied. Hellstriders did okay. Rotting Riders did okay. Skirmish Cav did okay. But with all the healing that came in from Soul Stealers and the Chill of Sontar, their values are going to get inflated a little bit. Just a little bit. Go over to the desktop, reveal the winner, Ash versus Pigman, and then also reveal the quarterfinal, Codex versus Ash. I think that'll be it for this video. It was a 3-game series, a lot of bangers, so yeah, we'll cut it there. Roar.
Subscribe, yes, yes.